Oh man, today's Monday. You know, Mondays suck, but there's one reason why I love Mondays. It's because the Tom Wang show is dropping today. Today's episode 2, and I just love this podcast so much. Oh my god. Episode 1 was so good. This is gonna be better. I just know. I love Tom's face. I love Tom's voice. It's so good. I'm gonna type this into YouTube because that's where he uploads a lot of his content. Best YouTube channel, by the way, for sure. And just gonna. Ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to talk to successful people and entrepreneurs. Where's the video? Oh, fast forward. Oh my god! No! Alright guys, well, here's the disappointing news. Episode 2, off to a bad start of this new podcast. The video didn't record, so you don't get to see this face, you only get to hear this voice. I hope that's good enough for all of you. But it's still a great episode, and I hope you guys enjoy this.
So I was trying to fly out to Michigan to find a manufacturer that would turn samples over for me to test them and live on the side of the road and have them give me a sample, and I'd try it and I'd give them feedback the same day, and then they turn it around the next day and stuff like that. That's what I was doing.
You literally lived.
Oh, I did that. Yeah, I did that for a while. Yeah.
Ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to talk to successful people and entrepreneurs and learn from them. Fast forward to today, I'm fortunate enough to be surrounded by a ton of successful self-made entrepreneurs who are achieving amazing accomplishments. This is a show where I sit down with them, I chat with them about business, all the ups, all the downs. Welcome to the Tom Wang Show. What's going on, guys? It's Tom here, and I am super stoked to be interviewing the one and only Ben Weir. He's the founder, the co-founder?
Yeah, co-founder
of Blue Mon. And Blue Mon is, I'm actually using Blue Mon right now. I'm absolutely hooked to your product, by the way. And it's very, very interesting that I've known you for a very long time, and I didn't use your product until I saw Max Chuney promoting your product.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that a little bit later, about how you even got Max Chuney and Christian Guzman on to use your product. But Ben, the name of this podcast is How I Started, because ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to ask successful people, whatever that means, how they got started. What is your story and this and that. So the purpose of this podcast is to have people on the show that I think have done a lot with their lives, whether it's health, wealth, relationship, spirituality, whatever it might be. So I just want to welcome you to the show, to the podcast.
Well, thanks for welcoming me, Tom. I'm excited. This is gonna be cool. We're gonna use our radio announcer voices, I bet.
Awesome. So you have a lovely voice, by the way.
Thanks.
For a podcast. That's why I wanted you to do it. But anyway, Ben, maybe let's do this. Let's bring this back. Okay. Before we even do that, tell us who you are. Maybe just 1 minute. Short Cliff Note version, who you are.
Sure. I'm Ben Weir. I grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia. And yeah, there's all kinds of things about me. I like to do different things. I like to build things. Really passionate about building things that people love, that are good for everybody involved. Kind of good capitalism is something I'm really passionate about. And I like mixed martial arts, rapping, wonderful girlfriend, good business partners.
What'd you say? What about your girlfriend?
I have a wonderful girlfriend.
Oh, you have a wonderful girlfriend. Oh, I thought you said something else.
Nope.
Okay.
Just positive. She's great.
That's awesome. What kind of martial arts do you practice? I didn't know you did martial arts.
Dude, all of them. Well, I do mixed martial arts, so it's not all of them. But
MMA.
Yeah, so but it's boxing, wrestling, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, a little bit of judo.
How long have you been doing that for?
Since I was 14.
Wow. Yeah. So you can. Wow, I didn't know that you were MMA.
Yeah, well, I got to make up for it. I'm so baby-faced.
Yeah, no, you don't look like someone who does MMA, and I'm sure you can probably kick both Kenny and my ass at the same time, probably.
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll battle out later. We'll do it later.
Make for a better podcast.
Yeah, just beat the shit out of each other.
I'll fight you two and see what happens.
Just beat the shit out of each other.
It's tough to fight two people.
Well, let me ask you this, Ben. So let's bring this back to maybe
even when you were a kid, right? You grew up in Vancouver, born and raised?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. Very blessed.
Yeah,
Beautiful city.
definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I grew up, it was kind of interesting, like my psychology, because I grew up to a kind of lower middle class family living in an upper class neighborhood. So it's kind of funny. Like I had really good parents that moved in with my grandfather to take care of him because he's like, I'm dying of cancer, like right as my parents were pregnant with me. And he just didn't die. So my parents stayed with him, just lived with him for the next 18 years. And I grew up in my grandfather's house with my parents taking care of him. So I grew up around all these super rich kids, like the finance minister of China. And I have this great friend, Maytab Bogle, who's really sharp, and his dad is a great role model growing up.
sorry, which neighborhood is this?
This is like UBC, but it's toward the water in UBC. So it's like a very fancy part of it. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's similar to Point Grey. But we weren't really that wealthy. We had a nice house because we lived with my grandfather. So I think for me, that kind of set a bit of a fire in me that was like, well, if I want to be able to even like live here, like I would need to really make something happen.
At what point do you think you realized that? How old were you?
How old was I? I mean, I think it bothered me when I was younger a little bit, and I had really good parents that loved me very much. But I think that just like, it's something I took on for myself. It bothered me when I was a kid. When I was even like grade 5, I was reading my journals the other day, and it bothered me that we were not as well off as the people that lived, in the house to the left or the house to the right.
What about the school that you went to? So if you were in a rich neighborhood, did you go to a rich school? Like the kids went to that school, everybody's like really wealthy. Yeah.
So it was interesting, the blend, right? Because we fell right in between the kids that were going to UBC. So their parents were going to UBC. So it was like professors' kids a lot of the time. And also just like super rich, like people like the finance minister of China's son. So tons of Asians that are often better at school than us white kids. So not always.
That's because their parents whip their ass if they get an A-.
Yeah. Super high standards, right? And I'm sure you guys have challenges too. However, the results spoke for themselves as well in school. So, even through high school and stuff, me and, again, Maytab's the friend I grew up with. Both of us kind of grew up. We're like, man, we feel like we're pretty smart, but we got worse grades than everyone around us, and kind of had chips on our shoulders when we graduated. Like, let's build some stuff. So we did.
So did you were you kind of the lemonade stand kid who had that, did you have that entrepreneurial drive when you were a kid?
Kind of. So I had that obsessive drive.
What was the first business you built? What was the first thing that you did in exchange for money?
I would shovel snow for neighbors. So I would go out. I had a push from my parents, so I got great parents that said, hey, go out and try to convince some neighbors. Oh, actually, no, the first thing I ever did when I was 3. And what I used to do is I would walk up to, maybe I did this at least once, tables of strangers and pitch them on buying me jelly beans. And then, so I'd sing songs and stuff. I'd sing my ABCs.
When you were 3 years old?
Yeah. And I was a child actor too. So I was doing auditions as well, so I was used to kind of getting up and pitching adults.
But your parents told you to go to that table and sing to them, or
no, they told me to shovel snow. I had that idea.
Okay, so if that does not indicate that you're going to be an entrepreneur down the road, I don't know what else. At 3 years old, going up to random tables and singing to them in exchange for jelly, you said jelly beans?
Yeah, jelly beans are, those 25-cent candies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, that speaks a lot about, do you feel like some people are just born to be entrepreneurs?
Very much so. And I think one of the things, right, as you're building companies that you get into, like I love personality types, for example. Like I've really spent a lot of time understanding the differences between people because honestly, it really helps my empathy, right? I'm like, oh, I see the world this way. And as you get along, you realize, oh, that's not the only way to see things. And in fact, other people see things a totally different way. And I have these strengths and other people have totally different strengths than me. So when you're building a company, you want a different type of person for every different type of role, with different strengths. And yeah, so, and some people are really born to be that person that starts the company. And some people are really born to be the person that scales that company. And some people are born to be the person that makes sure that company gets all its finances in order. And there's amazing roles for everybody.
What's yours?
So I'm probably things I'm good at, and I'm bad at lots of stuff, but the stuff I'm good at is figuring out where we should go, like strategy as well. And often it's collaborative, but coming up with a strategy I really like. And then finding the people to put in the places to get there. And then I also like product development and marketing. So those are probably my strengths.
Got it. So more on the visionary side as well as leadership in terms of building the team.
Yeah. And I have a great business partner at Blumon. We're gonna probably talk about the story of Blumon soon, Colin Chick. And so he's like, if you ever read like Rocket Fuel or one of those traction books, like he's like an integrator, and I'm like a visionary. That's just the term they use. But I have the skills that I just outlined, and Colin's really good at like running the company and managing things and that kind of thing. And if you're an entrepreneur that's just got some traction, you want to really think like, what are my weaknesses, and take inventory of that, and then think, okay, now who do I need to plug in to fix this? Because if you try to climb trees when you're a fish, I mean, maybe you'll get up that tree, but man, someone else could have got up way faster.
Right. So talk to us about, let's backtrack a little bit, because we're definitely going to get into Blumon. That's the whole purpose of this podcast. Is I'd love to have you talk to us about how you build this amazing company, amazing product, man. I'm telling you right now, like I use your product. I have it in my gym bag right now, and I hate using every other paste.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's great. Can you give me like a coupon code?
Yep.
And let me be an influencer?
Yeah, sure. Use coupon code Joe, Joe, and that'll do 10% off.
No, I want to get some money though. Can I get my own?
Yeah.
Tom Wang.
Sure.
Tom Wang for 50% off.
Got to talk to Kimmy at Blumon, but she can set that up.
Tom Wang for 50% off. The highest coupon.
The highest coupon.
Don't
Coupons
use,
for closers.
Just kidding. Don't use that. You're going to get a 404 error on the website.
You will. Yeah. But for now, Joe will work. J-O-E.
Sure. Joe. So, talk to us about, so elementary school, you were going to school with rich kids and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you had
another
this chip
thing
on
that
your
was
shoulder.
really formative for me too is I got bullied a lot in grades 7 and 8. And after that, and half of that was my fault, quite frankly. But looking back at what happened, my response to that was I was like, man, I'm just going to get, I think quite a few people have similar things like this. Like they have a hard time in childhood for a little bit, for some reason or another. And their response to that is, I'm going to fucking, I hope I can curse on this. I'm going to get,
Fuck.
Don't
fucking swear, man.
I'm gonna either lie down and take this, or I'm gonna get strong, So that's when I got into mixed martial arts, and after I injured myself, I found business. So
okay.
So
So talk to us about in high school. I mean, from grade 8 to grade 12.
Yeah.
Like what happened in those years?
So I stopped getting bullied in about grade 9 because I figured out just pretty much self-development in some ways, like types of self-development. It really started with martial arts though, and I got really into mixed martial arts. And I got some good friends too at that time, and stopped getting picked on, and things worked out, and I had a much better time. I was just obsessed with mixed martial arts. I would just train, 2 to 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'd bust to, kind of Granville and Drake in Vancouver, which is it's a part of the city that's covered in homeless people at the time. And I'd be like, cool, let's go in there and fight grown men all the time.
Wait, you used to go on Granville and Drake and used to fight grown men, like pick fights with them?
No. My MMA gym was there.
I thought you used to go out on the street and pick fights with grown ass men. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, no, that's not a good thing to do. No, I was a teenager, but the thing was they didn't have like a teen program, and I was obsessed, right? So I ended up training with guys that were older, a lot older, and it was a good time. They're all good to me over at now it's Lions MMA. It's a great gym.
Got it. Cool. So, I mean, did you start any sort of businesses in high school at all?
No.
Or was it just getting by? Did you get good grades in high school?
No, I didn't. So,
how bad? Like C?
Yes, C+ student.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing was my school at the time, for some of those years, was the top rated school in BC.
Which one?
It was U Hill. And like
U Hill?
Yeah.
In Vancouver?
University Hill. At the time, it was one of the top rated ones. I don't know where it is now, but very top rated school, for non-private schools. So like St. George's and stuff, and getting really regional here, but some private schools were higher, but UHL just was super academic. The C+s were like Fs.
Got it. So did you start any sort of businesses in high school at all?
The first business that I really started, I was 18, about 2 months after I graduated.
Got it. And is that at Blumon?
No.
That's not Blumon. So talk to us about, did you go to college, by the way?
Yeah, I went to university for 3.5 years and dropped out with 6 months left.
Got it. So you started your first startup when you were 18, right after high school. Yeah. Talk to us about what that startup was. I didn't know about this, but
Yeah. So it's called Honest Yum Yums. So my business partners were Maytab, a friend of mine named Rowan Stewart, and then also a guy named Val. We're all good friends at the time. And Val came to us with the idea that we should take these boxes and we should fill them with muffins and then put them in office spaces. So for example, like an office space like yours, Tom, we put it in there and then we put like a picture like, hey, we're a bunch of 18-year-old kids. Don't steal from us. And here's a box with that you could put change in, and then also there's a larger box full of muffins, and then you pay for the muffins as you go. So you say, pay us $1 for each muffin. It's like a vending machine with no security. And we figured out really quick that muffins are really perishable, so we should start selling like like chocolate bars and chips and stuff. So we tried that. We got like 4 places to sign up, and then tragically, one of my friends came down with he had some mental health problems that were pretty rough, and he never recovered from them. So that was very sad. But that was what killed that venture.
Okay, cool. So after that was done,
Yeah.
I mean, let's jump into, I guess, Blue Mon.
Sure.
Or was there anything in between that you like
Quite
to
a
talk
few.
about?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about a few. Because here's the thing, right? It's like I feel like a lot of people, they see Ben Weir, it's like, on the top of entrepreneurial game, good-looking white kid who's got, sick flow and
Thanks.
does MMA and this. And by the way, he's taken, so don't slide in his DMs. But a lot of people think like, oh, you got this all figured out, right? Like everything was a smooth ride and this and that. And the purpose of this podcast is really for entrepreneurs to expose the failures, because without the failures, you wouldn't be where you are today. So yeah, go ahead and kind of talk to us about what happened up to Blue Mon.
I'll do them quick, but basically there's a bunch. So, I tried social media marketing. I just didn't execute then. Then I bought back that Honest Yum Yums company for like $300. And then I tried it again while I was in school. And
Your first acquisition?
My first acquisition for $300. And I tried hiring some people to run it while I was in school, and that didn't work out. And then after that, I got this job at an internet marketing firm. I had to drive a really long way, and it was just, again, I had a really nice boss at that job, but I'm not built to sit at a job. I got given some really routine things, and they were really sweet people, but I was just in the wrong seat. And man, I hated it so much. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to work like 18-hour days until I build a fucking company. So friend of mine, Maytap, I've just come up a lot in this podcast, but him and I started this like reputation management firm, and then we tried that, and that didn't work out at all. And then I started doing hair tutorials, and from there, Blue Mon took off.
Let's talk about Blue Mon now. So for those who don't know what Blue Mon is, what is Blue Mon?
Yeah, so it's one of the top men's hair YouTube channels. Kind of depends on the month who's got the most views. So often the top one in the world. Sometimes it's Slick Hair TV. Probably gonna leave some hate comments. They're gonna be like, "We're always the top one," but they're not always the top one. So
it's interesting that you describe Blue Mon from a very digital perspective.
Yeah,
You just said it's one of the top channels instead of saying it's a hair product.
well, it's a hair product company too.
Right. That's what it is. Right.
Yeah.
It's a physical product business to me. But it's interesting to observe you saying the digital side as well.
Yeah,
Because
well, it's very much a media company.
Right. Right.
So it's a media and products company, but the truth is the media is a big part. You know? So there's a channel, and then Joe actually owns the channel. So there's the Blue Mon. We're talking about Blue Mon, and then there's the product company, which Joe and I co-own together. So the way that the product company works is, so pretty much Joe and I came together to create hair products, especially.
No, we gotta back up. No, you didn't just find this guy on this. He wasn't one of your friends.
No, he wasn't one of my friends. I cold emailed Joe. That's how I met him.
So what made you want to start a hair company though?
Yeah. So my friend Brian, he's my business partner now, and he said, "Hey Ben, it'd be really good is you could be a hair influencer. So what you should do is you should make hair tutorials, and then from this, what you can do is you can get niche traffic, and then you can sell hair products." And I was like, okay, cool. So I started making my own hair tutorials.
When was this?
Early 2014.
Early 2014. Okay.
Yeah.
So you made hair tutorials. You just got a camera, make some hair tutorials.
Yeah,
and
terrible
put it
hair tutorials.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just put it on YouTube.
Yeah, you can still Google like Justin Bieber hairstyle tutorial, and I rank on the top page.
So you started making YouTube tutorials about hair,
Yeah.
and how was that?
Yeah. Well, it was challenging. So the thing that I learned was that accountability is everything in the beginning, right? So if you want to get started, at least for me, if I wanted to get started, I was trying to do stuff from when I was like 18 to 21, but I just would work like 2 hours a day, and it just like wasn't enough to get started. Like when you have no momentum and no leverage or anything, and you can only work that much, like you can't get enough done. So what I learned was that if you use the limited motivation that you have in those 2 hours, and this is another Brianism,
Yangism.
Yangism, yeah, you could say Yangism, yeah, sure. Yeah, Brian Yang is his name, and he said this to me. He's like, use your limited motivation to get around people that'll kick your ass into doing more work. And then as you kind of get this tribe around you of these people, then you'll start taking way more action. And I was probably 19 at the time. And I was like, that's a good point. So I just started spending time trying to get people around me that would sort of like raise my vibration.
Raise your standard.
Raise my standards, exactly. So that's what I did. So Brian and I worked a little bit on that, and then on the hair tutorials, and then I didn't really follow through at that point. And then Maytab and I worked on the Always branding stuff, which was the reputation management. That failed, and then I came back and started the hair stuff on my own, like almost a year later. And I did a few hair tutorials, and then I sent Joe Andrews, my current business partner at Bluemont, a cold email and said, hey, I'm going to make a hair product company. If you want to be involved, sure. And if not, don't worry about it. And I'd looked at, so Joe had a channel called Bluemont. And Bluemont, I looked at the analytics, and it had 80,000 subscribers, but I could see his trajectory on Social Blade. And you can do this with influencers. You can look at how many subscribers they get on Social Blade. And Joe was getting like maybe 700 or 1,000 a day. And I was like, okay, at this rate, Joe is on track to being one of the top hair influencers in the world. And I should send him an email because my videos are not doing as well as his. And if I partnered with him, that could be smart. So I sent him a cold email.
And he's not even from North America.
No, he's from Africa.
He's from Africa?
Yeah, he was living in England at the time.
Yeah.
But he lived in Africa until he was something like 17. Like I think he lived in Africa, maybe even 18. Like he might have lived in Africa. And then he went to the States for like 6 months, and then he went to the UK for school. And I think I got in touch with him when he was in the UK, but he was pretty much African.
So I'm sure that he gets a lot of emails. How do you think he felt when he received that one? Was he like, what the fuck? Or was he like, how does he, 80,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets a lot of messages per day. Yeah. What do you think made him respond to you? And how long did it take for him to respond to you?
A couple days. I'd sent him two emails. I'd emailed him like a couple months before that. I'd sent him some email about, I don't even know, some random positive email I sent him. But like, I like your content. I think you're going to be the next big thing. And then like, he didn't reply to that. And
so
then,
you planted your seed?
I did. Maybe I did. Yeah. And then, I must have tried, I was trying all kinds of things, right? Like it wasn't like, I just had this one moment emailing Joe. It's like, I tried reaching out to this guy and doing this strategic partnership and coming up with this idea and trying this. And then one day I sent an email to Joe and like, most things didn't work, but that thing worked.
So you did send, Joe wasn't, like you send many emails to everybody else?
Kind of. Like I'd sent various things to various people, but Joe was, I think, the only person I asked to be my business partner because I liked his vibe from his channel. Like he just seemed like he had like good energy. So I liked his demeanor. He seemed like a trustworthy guy. And so I was like, okay, well, he's maybe the person I would ask to partner with, but I don't know. I might have offered coupon codes or something to somebody else, but Joe was the first person to get back to me at all. And he said, I'm interested, what do you got to say? So I actually spent pretty much all day, every day preparing for meetings with Joe and figuring out, how to build, like I had a vague idea of how to build a hair product company, but I didn't have a supplier or anything. So I'd think of all the questions Joe could ask me, and then I'd go and figure out all the answers before the meetings. And I spent a long time preparing for each meeting. And after a couple months, he was like, okay, let's do it. And I knew I was in a good place because Joe was going places, and I was going to work hard to make sure that we had a good company.
Got it. So did you guys, was this a handshake contract?
We had an agreement. We had like a partnership agreement. We had a partnership agreement.
And the company was based in Vancouver or in Africa, or what was the company based out of?
So Joe was living in the UK, and I was living in Vancouver, and I was basically doing all the work for the hair product company. It now is based in Vancouver. We've got around 20 staff, and most of them are at an office in Vancouver.
Got it.
We had our own office for a while, but now we work. So we'll see how long WeWork's around for. But for now, we're taking advantage of their wonderful rates.
Well, you can make me take my office after if we.
What if you grow out of it, Tom?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. So let me ask you this: how the hell do you start? You didn't go to school for chemistry. No. How do you even start a hair product? Because I would imagine that to be very chemically.
Yeah.
Intensive.
If you work with a contract manufacturer and like a custom one, like a custom manufacturer, the thing about that is they have a chemist on staff. So you tell them what you want, and then you say, make it like this. And then they go, make you something. And then they come back and they go, is this what you wanted? And then you try it out and you go, yes, but please improve it in these ways. And then they do it again. So, what we're doing is we know what we really want to make, but we don't have to know chemistry because they will tweak it and remake it for us.
So when it comes to custom formulation and these custom manufacturing, how do you even find them?
How do you find them? I mean, you can just Google them, actually. It would be, okay, so if I was doing it again, it's wise to find somebody that's vetted them before, because you want to find a vetted manufacturer. So you use something like Clarity FM and just call some product devs on there and see, hey, because you can pay people for their time to consult on Clarity FM. And you go, hey, what are some really good manufacturers? And maybe call 3 different ones. And if they all say the same manufacturer, then great. And if not, then start vetting the manufacturers. And, if you're not sure how to vet manufacturers, then ask the people on Clarity FM and then you can keep going.
Got it. So you started basically working with these contract manufacturers, and was a lot of back and forth, I'd imagine, at the beginning?
Definitely.
Okay. So how long did that process take to actually get your first good product that you're comfortable enough to actually sell to the masses?
7 months.
7 months.
Yeah, which is pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's not very long.
In hindsight, well, I was hustling hard, man. I was dead set on making this work. So, I was just really focused and really worked hard to make sure that we got all the communication really tight and didn't give them the wrong information and it took us 7 months.
Got it. So talk to us a little bit about your first product. How did you guys launch it? Let's actually talk about packaging first, because Blue Mon has a very, very unique packaging.
Yeah, see, that's not the packaging we started with. But I could tell you about how we launched. Do you want to learn about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So that was something that we put a lot of work into, a lot. So we started, and what we did is actually pretty unique what Blue Mon did. So we said, hey everybody, with the audience, we're going to make
Joe's YouTube channel.
Joe's YouTube channel's audience.
Sorry, at this point, how big was it? Because he's
200,000 or something subscribers around here. But it was early days. This was 2015 now. So it was early for this kind of thing. And so Joe said, hey everybody, what we're going to do is we're going to make a hair product together. So this is going to be the first community generated hair product. So what we did was we polled everybody on this YouTube video. And then what we also did was we made a Facebook group, which is one of my favorite things to make these Facebook groups, because you can build these communities where people no longer are just interacting with you. They have the next level of brand loyalty, because now you're the reason they met all their friends, So, and it's a nice thing, you've created this space where people get human connection out of things. And really, why do you want your hair to look good? Some people do it for themselves, and good for them. But a lot of people just want other people to like them, or you know what I mean? So it's nice when you can help people make all kinds of friends and stuff as well with your brand, right? I like that. So Blue Mon, so we made this community discussion, and now it's got 45,000 members or 50,000 members or something. It's like a forum, right? So what we did was we polled everybody. We made all these Google Forms. What would you like? What are your biggest problems? What do we need to solve? And we got 5 different manufacturers to work together, and we story told around this. So we told everyone how we did it, because we had 5 different manufacturers competing to make this. And we story told, and then we brought all the audience along, because they'd been telling us the whole time what the ingredients should be and what we should put in it. And by the time it came out, we did a big launch sequence and made an email list and made videos and insider videos and commercials and all kinds of stuff. And we did pre-orders, and we had some very successful pre-orders. We actually sold 10,000 jars.
No way.
Yeah, 10,000 jars.
Wow.
You math that out in your head if you want.
That is unbelievable. I mean, how did you feel at that point? Was that over your expectation?
I was pumped. I was listening to rap music about money nonstop. I was just
fighting adults, like even like people outside the street on Grandma and Drake, just beating people up.
I don't fight people, man. That's not smart. But sure, maybe celebratory fights.
I mean, that must have been the most amount of money that you've made, because all your other business ventures were,
I mean, essentially failures, to be honest. Yeah. Nothing had really worked before this happened. So I had a great start. It came out the gate really hard. And that was because Joe had such an engaged audience, right? That we'd spoken to about this product and made it with everybody. And we sold, so of those 10,000 jars, 5,000 were to B2B merchants. So a lot of people around the world, B2B, had said, hey, we'll pre-order this on business to business. Because we had so much hype that we sold 5,000 jars to places like Singapore and Hong Kong, and I think we did Australia and Europe. And
how was Joe feeling about this the whole time? Was he just like...
Joe's so relaxed, man. Like, I was freaking out the whole time, and Joe's just like, yeah, it's all good. Like, everything's fine. I think he was pretty excited that we did this. He was happy about it.
I mean, 10,000 units is a lot of units, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot
for your first product. It's a pre-order.
Yeah, it's a great pre-order. It's a great pre-order.
Wow.
We're stoked about it. So that came out, and then it was challenging fulfilling it though, because it was interesting. We put this one jar on the marketing, and we're like, this is going to be the jar that we're going to sell it in. It was this really high-end looking jar. And then when it was my first time manufacturing anything though, right? So I had talked my way in to having, and we had a great formula actually, but I talked my way into fulfilling all these products. And there were elements that I didn't understand, like labeling and like getting your jars on time and all that stuff, and all the nuances and ways you get a bubble in your label or not have jars available or this and that. I didn't take as much urgency as I could have in various steps. And we were 2 months late. And we said 4 months. And we're like, the lead time though on manufacturing was like a little over 2 months. So I was like, 4 months, plenty of time. It took me 6 months. And that's because one of the reasons was the jar I'd said I was going to sell it in was they told me, they're like, yeah, sure, we'll sell this to you. And then when I went to them to get it, I guess I hadn't given them a deposit. Now I learned you have to do that. They sold out of the jar. So then I had to actually change the jar and change the packaging so people got something that looked different than what they'd been sold to. Luckily, we had a really good formula. So people weren't too bent out of shape about it.
I mean, people are buying the hair product for, the formula, not so much about the jar.
Not so much the packaging. And actually, we went from like a 1.8 ounce jar to a 2.5 ounce jar. So everyone kind of got an upgrade. And even though we switched from this like expensive jar to a cheaper jar, everyone actually got more product. And it's important to do business that way. Like, you never want to, if you can avoid it, don't leave losers. Don't disappoint your customers. Don't fuck over your employees, because you want to play long-term games, right? And if you wreck your integrity,
just be a good person. That's literally what it is, man. It's like, be a fucking good person. Like the first criteria that I work with anybody, it's like, are you a good person or not?
Yeah.
If I feel like you're a shitty person who's like trying to cut corners, who does this and that, like I don't want to work with you.
Yeah, 100%. And actually almost everyone's that way. So the thing is, by being a corner cutter, right? People are like, oh, cheaters prosper and that kind of thing. They do for like an hour. And then after that, the next deal or the next company or the next whatever is, the door is closed to you. So you gotta do your best. And sometimes things are way out of sometimes you don't have control over what happens, and then you just need to do your best with what you were given, but at least just make a high integrity effort. You have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. So you were 2 months late on your delivery.
Yeah.
People got their product. You
They
had a
did.
great formula where it was people just leaving that in the Facebook groups like, holy shit, this is like an amazing hair product. And you guys,
Yeah. So then we started trying to like actually run this thing, and I was not nearly as good at running a company as I was at selling hair products. So we were delivering them and stuff, and it was fine. But our customer service was not super good. It wasn't well run. It wasn't well organized. And luckily, I had this guy doing our web dev that had actually run a bunch of smaller companies, and he's like, "Hey, you're really good at selling hair products. Like, what do you think of?" And pretty much like right out the gate, like we launched, and he was already involved in the company, Colin, because he'd done our web dev. And
Colin did your web design.
yeah, Colin Chick.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was
Cool.
our web dev at the time.
Oh, that's how you guys met.
Yeah, because he had a web dev firm. Yeah.
Cool.
And in fact, we'd met earlier in the venture even. I'd met Colin earlier, maybe like in that January, like before the pre-orders, because Colin he used to sell Gatsby online, like Gatsby hair products. So I was asking him like, hey, Colin, like how do you sell hair products? Because I was just figuring it out. And then, yeah, so, a year later, Colin's doing our web dev, and he says, hey, how about I come on as CFO, COO? And he did. He came on, and he did a fantastic job. And we did have another guy that was COO, and it wasn't so hot. And I was very lucky that I'd hired two, because Colin did a fantastic job. So.
Awesome. So talk to us a little bit about, you had that one product, but now you guys have 5 or 6, I believe.
Yeah, at least 6.
So how talk to me about
6 SKUs. Sorry, there's products, and anyway.
So what was the first year in business like, and what was the second year, third year? Like, can you talk to us about? I know now that everybody knows like how you launch a product to an audience, which is freaking genius. You pre-sold, amazing, everything's good. What happened after the first year?
Yeah, so year 1 was good. So, it was really like we were just realizing like, damn, we need more SKUs. Like we have one SKU, and we've also decided we have this super high standard for product development, right? Because we weren't just doing what a lot of brands were doing, which is like white labeling. Like at the time, I was like, and Blumon is always, Blumon is this way. This is how Blumon is. Blumon doesn't white label. Blumon custom formulates hard. So I was trying to like fly out to Michigan to find a manufacturer that would turn samples over for me to test them and live on the side of the road and have them like give me like a sample, and I'd like try it, and I'd give them feedback the same day, and then they turn it around the next day and stuff like that. Like that's what I was doing.
You literally lived
I
in
did
a car?
that. Yeah, I did that for a while. Yeah.
In Michigan.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Sure.
So
it was, we realized like, hey, like we really need another SKU, right? And we're custom formulating, and living in Canada and shipping back and forth from LA is, they have like a 2-week lead, and then there's like a few days of shipping, and even if you FedEx it, it's expensive, and like they don't get it right all the time, and you're going to end up taking a while to get this done. So I found a manufacturer in Michigan that said that they would turn products around same day. Because the thing is, you actually can. Like, you can do that. Like, they can whip something up in a day. Like, this 2-week lead thing is just like, it's bureaucracy.
Yeah, people are slow at doing stuff.
They're just like, I'm going to be slow. And I was like, dude, no. Like, we need this done now. You'd love this because the audience, you probably don't know Tom very well, but Tom's superpower is doing stuff fast. Like, I kind of told you about my superpowers earlier. Mine is not like, I'm pretty fast, but Tom is really fast. And that's like, when I think about speed, I think about Tom. Anyway, so at this time though, speed was very important. So I lived in a shitty hotel near this manufacturer that was actually like pretty close to 8 Mile.
Cool.
It wasn't like I kind of like drive through 8 Mile to get there. Like and honestly, maybe not even the worst part of 8 Mile. 8 Mile is a long street.
Are you listening to like songs about money and rapping?
Definitely, dude. I was into it. I still am, but a little less. I'm a little more calm now. But yeah, at the time it was just like gangster rap, dude, all the time. Yeah, especially like 50 Cent, super awesome. I love 50 Cent. He's always hustling. So yeah, living there, and the manufacturer would turn samples around, which was great. Unfortunately, that manufacturer had issues with their quality control. First of all, they would. Yeah, I don't even need to say bad things about people on the internet, but it didn't work out. And I don't recommend them. And our manufacturer in LA is fantastic, and I love them. So
That's cool. So you got that one SKU up and running.
yeah.
And then did you just launch more SKUs after? Was it the same kind of business, like just creating a product with your audience, launching the SKU towards them, and then getting their feedback, creating a better product?
Pretty
Like,
much. Yeah.
How did you grow this company?
Well, that was it. So honestly, SKU creation has been the thing that works best for Blue Mon. So we have various things like retargeting works more or less. Then we have things like our email works, Amazon works, but like the bread and butter is like creating products that people love. Like that really is what works for Blue Mon. And I see all kinds of my friends' businesses that work on all kinds of other things like running cold ads and stuff like that. It doesn't work for us. Creating products that people love works for Blue Mon. So that's what it does.
Got it. So it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in there, right? Like I could. So how else do we grow the company? Sure. So let me. I'll just backpedal. So year one, yeah, it was creating SKUs, and then year two was I actually got a lot of SKUs out, so the business doubled. So that was really good. And then the next year, we tried to scale in all kinds of ways. So we were like, cool, we have SKUs down. We can just keep investing in product dev and this is going well. Now let's diversify channels. So let's invest in Amazon and let's invest in, our email and let's invest in a content website and let's invest in making a store. And we tried all these initiatives and growth was flat that year because none of them worked. We got away from what worked for us. And one error we made as well is we didn't try something properly and then test it properly with the ROI and then kill stuff early enough. Like we let stuff run way too long. And now this year, what's been working really well for us is one, SKUs, but then two, also just really being super granular with like $1, just with your attribution and your ROI on the dollar spend. Cause I mean, that's really internet marketing 101. But if you spend, $2, you need to know that you at least got $2 back within a couple months, and you need to be really, really, really on top of that. And you can't just spend money willy-nilly.
Right. Love to chat with you a little bit about influencers.
Sure.
Because obviously Joe was an influencer.
Yeah.
And he was able to build this brand with you. But at the same time, I've also seen a lot of big influencers pushing your product. I follow Christian Guzman. I follow Max Chuney. And one day I was like, that's Blue Mon. I know the guy. Like, I know the guy who founded that. That was super cool. Has that been a very big focus?
It actually has. Sorry. So to be fair, we have a funnel that really works like make an awesome product, give it to a bunch of influencers that we know because Joe, we have a leg up, right? Because we have connections with these influencers because they were in the same kind of like sphere, right? We're friends with them. So because of that, you get this kind of network effect. Like if you listen to Joe Rogan, you notice like all his friends promote on it, and he probably pays them sometimes, but I bet he gets good rates, and I'm sure for a while, I'm sure it was free. So we have the same thing, right? Like we have a lot of friends that will promote our products, and we'll scratch their back too. If they make something really good, we'll talk about it. We talk about all kinds of things that are good, we're happy to do that. So, make something awesome, then use influencer marketing and then drive it to the site. And then people will either go to Amazon to buy it there, or people will, subscribe to the email list, or people will, go into the retargeting funnel. But really the top of funnel is, influencer marketing into all the other places that we catch people.
I have to tell you something crazy about influence marketing.
Sure.
Last Sunday, I woke up at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I came to the office, and my girlfriend calls me at 9:30. Mm-hmm. She's like, Tom, check our Amazon account. I'm like, what happened? She's like, we did how much we usually do in an entire day by 9:30 a.m. I'm like, that's super weird. By 12 o'clock, the trend kept on continuing. We did double of what we usually do in the whole day. By 4 o'clock, we did 5 times how much we usually do in a full day. So a whole week.
Wow.
And then we started emailing people on Amazon where do they find us, because we literally downloaded all the apps I mentioned, like did our brand get mentioned anywhere, any influencer talk about us, any tags. We scoured the internet, couldn't find anything. And then it turns out that someone did a swipe up story on us. And it was free.
Somebody big then, huh?
She has 580,000 followers.
That's not that many.
That's not that many followers.
Wow, that's
and by the end of the day, we did 7 to 8 times what we usually do in one day.
That's epic, because I know your revenues, and they're pretty strong. So.
We did $40,000 in that day.
Yeah, so one swipe up did 35.
One swipe up 15-second story did $34,000 for us. And the days after
That's
that,
amazing.
it kept on coming with,
Would you tell me
continued.
who this influencer was? Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, under the table. We don't,
Okay, you tell me later.
yeah,
Tell
because
me.
I don't want everybody who's watching this hit her up, be like, promote my product.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
This is my influencer.
Oh, that's cute.
I get to keep.
Glad you guys have such a sweet relationship.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not
cool.
yet. Trying to build one.
No worries. So that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really,
that was crazy.
That's
Anyway.
amazing to know that the 508th, because I've only been in men's so far, and I'm thinking of getting into some women's. Like I'm talking to some women now about potentially making a brand.
I would love to talk to you about that type of stuff after.
Sure.
So let's finish Bloom On.
Yeah.
And maybe we can talk about what Ben Weir is up to now, right?
Sure.
So Bloom On, tell me. I mean, you guys are very successful. You have 20 employees, right?
Yeah,
bit,
about
20
that. Yeah, it's roughly 20.
20 employees. The business is obviously doing really, really well. Are you guys launching more products right now? How do you guys? Definitely.
Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to be hands off on it for the last 10 months.
Do you still have equity in the business?
Oh yeah. I still own a quarter. Roughly, I own 22%. So. See, some people don't want to talk about that stuff. I don't think that's a big deal.
So how much did you start with then?
50.
Okay, so it's 50-50.
Yeah, it's 50-50
Wow.
to start. So one of my partners bought in, which was very kind of him. And I mean, obviously he's very excited about it and sees an opportunity, and he's doing well with the investment. But also, I wanted to. I was dealing with some health stuff, so I needed to slow down. So I slowed down for a little bit, and I'm almost out of the woods with the health stuff now. So.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you look better. You're getting bigger, and
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I'm doing good now. But
Yeah.
exactly, I needed a little break. Like I've been doing 80-hour weeks for 5 years straight. So it was like time for and sometimes 60-hour weeks. Like but a lot, man. I was doing a lot, and it was just like, you know what? I needed a second. I was getting sick every month for a little while there.
wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Yeah, I'm just, for me, like I'm working a lot right now, but I'm trying to spend that time to eat healthy, go to the gym, sleep well. I sleep really well, man. I slept for 9 hours last night.
Nice.
Yeah, so I get my sleep. My mom will call me, like she's in Germany, and she's like, Tom, like you eating fine? Like you sleeping fine?
Yeah.
Like never ate better.
Yeah.
Never slept better.
Yeah.
But I definitely know what you mean. So in terms of Blue Mon, I mean, guys, if you're listening to this, check them out, right? Go to, oh, by the way, actually, let me back up. Blue Mon. The hell is up with his name?
It's a name that Joe got it in elementary school.
People called him Blue Mon?
Yeah, I mean, they just had they were passing notes or something, and they needed code names to pass notes in African elementary, and that was Joe's note passing name. So Joe's had that as his name forever, and he just made it his YouTube channel, and then Joe blew up, and now he's Blue Mon. And then we named the brand after the channel. So
Have you guys ever thought about? Are you guys? I'm sure you guys thought about it, but are you guys going to release products outside of hair? So men's skincare, men.
potentially, and it's probably a secret. I mean, I would just follow the @ByBlueMon page for any and all updates regarding that.
Absolutely, and use Tom Wayne code for 50% off.
Yeah, sure.
So-
or Joe for 10, that'll work. So
One of them will work. We'll let you guess which one.
no.
So cool, man. I mean, Blue Mon, congrats on all your success.
Thanks.
And it's been really interesting to watch the brand, and I love the branding. I love the stuff that you guys do, man. Like the stuff that, like, I know that Joe interviewed Max Shuney. Like he was cutting his hair, and then it was like an interview. So
We
that's
had a
what you
similar
mean.
bump. Gordon Hayward talked about us, and that interview style was because Gordon Hayward, he's a famous basketball player. And yeah, you guys know him. So he's he did.
Never heard of him, but
Well, he does. You can see the.
it's a white guy.
Yeah.
Okay. White guy in the NBA. There's like
Yeah,
five
we all
of them.
look the same.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway.
It's funny because Joe's fans, we all do look the same. I have the same haircut. There's lots of Asian fans though, and Indian fans. Tons of Indian fans. But yeah, so Gordon Hayward talked about it, and then we were like, oh, we should do an interview with Gordon Hayward. And then we made this interview series where Joe's interviewed Max Tuning as well, and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, it's very organic, and that's kind of reminds me of the stuff you talked about at the beginning. You being a media company,
Yeah.
right? And it's just like thinking outside the box. Sit down, get a haircut, interview them, build relationships with them. Influence marketing should really be called relationship marketing.
Yeah.
'Cause
it
you build
kind of is.
relationships with them.
Man, but the thing is an interesting thing going on with influencer marketing now is big companies like, I will. This is not. I know some people that, some company like some big alcohol brand. I don't want to get into the details because this is somebody's private details, but I know people that get paid by big brands like $150,000 just to talk about a product. And it's like, relationships only go so far. Like you can, or to be fair, actually, influencer marketing, I don't even mean that, because the fact is this influencer that gets paid $150,000, never mind. Like he promotes our stuff all the time, like pretty regularly, but that's because of the relationship. But at the same time, if you're like a big brand that's kind of uncool and has a big marketing spend, they can demand these crazy prices. And if you are just trying to get in and pay them without the relationship, dude, I think it's such a fool's game. I think it's a terrible game to play as a brand. But these big brands do it because they just have big money. And then as a small brand that's trying to make it, you want to work something out with them.
Well, that's why you got to go the relationship route.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't really pay money for that.
You're right. Opinion. You can't pay money for it. And if you guys are just having a relationship and helping each other out, then they'll probably help you out. I mean, they'll make a story every once in a while. Stories are very easy for them to do.
Swipe up, man.
Swipe up.
7X one day. Let's go.
Yeah.
Do a couple more of those.
No, it's true. You're right. So that's what I meant.
So Ben, talk to us a little bit about what's happening now. I know there's a lot of secret projects you're working on.
Well, they're just not announced to the public yet.
Yeah, but if we can keep this on a broad level, I think the strategy that you're going for is it's very similar to the strategy that you use and built Bloom, which is finding an influencer and launching a product towards the audience. If I'm
somewhat. So what I'm into now is so Bloom made this awesome, there's media, there's community, and then there's fantastic products, right? And that's something that it was super cool to make that. And it's a hard thing to make. It's not easy, and there's all kinds of specific things to do at every step. I've learned how to do it. I've learned how to do that, and I know how to do it, and then also my business partners are super good at it too, at different parts of it, right? So where I'm at is I do want to take this and I want to do some more things that are like this. So I've got a couple projects on the go right now that are unannounced, that are, one of them's coming out in a month. So, if I come back on, I'll tell you about it.
I would love to have you back on, and maybe you can talk to us about how I started episode,
how I continued.
How I continued, yeah. How I scaled.
Yeah.
How I failed. Maybe I should talk about how I failed.
Oh, I've talked about that a lot.
Yeah, love it. I mean, so you're using this kind of the same model, same but different.
Yeah.
And you're applying this to a few more projects.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I think...
Let me ask you this. What is the best way to reach out to an influencer?
Yeah.
Based on your experience.
Well, there's a few ways, right? So for me, what worked out was cold email, right? And then what also has worked out for me is knowing the influencers or knowing someone that knows the influencers, right? So that's worked out for me. This is not the easiest game to play because most influencers won't get back to you. And then most people don't have inner world relationships. So this is a great game for me to play because I can do this. But if you want to do it, maybe go to a convention and meet them. Maybe develop the skill sets that they would need. Or cold email. Honestly, send 50 cold emails. Like maybe that'll work. I can't sit here and tell you that if you send 50 cold emails to influencers with 50,000 subscribers and you've looked at their Social Blade accounts and oh, these guys have good growth rates and they have good engagement on their videos. Maybe one of them will get back to you and want to build something,
It works, man. I mean, Kenny DM'd me.
Yeah.
I'm not an influencer. Well, I guess I kind of am in the Amazon space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll call myself an
famous
influencer.
Tom.
In the Amazon space, but outside of that, I'm a fucking nobody. Okay, I'm just like an Asian guy walking down the street. But in the Amazon space, I'm a fucking nobody either. But I mean, Kenny, DM'd me, and I have tons of DMs. Trust me, like I get 30, 40 DMs per month, I would say. Depending on how much ads I'm running.
Yeah.
When I'm running ads, I get a lot of DMs.
Yeah, I always get ads from you.
Depending on if I'm running ads, my ads are turned off right now because I don't have a workshop coming up in another few weeks. But if I'm running a lot of ads, DMs like pretty much every day. And I honestly just ignore all of them. But Kenny was like, he reached out to me and he basically, I mean, what I'm trying to say is it works. Okay.
Yeah.
You just got to catch their people's attention and someone's going to see you.
That's true. You could try to run ads to influencers if you could get their information and target a group of influencers. Maybe you run ads and you say, hey, I'm this guy and I'm going to build you this. I don't know. You just got to, I mean, the thing about this kind of game, right, is always like, where's their attention? And then try to get their attention with something that they would be interested in. So you got to figure out what do they want and then where's their attention? And then those are sort of the first principles of the problem. And then, I don't know, have at it.
I want to ask, kind of wrap up the podcast here, but I want to ask you a couple quick questions. How do you mitigate the risk of, let's say someone's like listening to Ben and he's like, oh, I want to do this. This is a great model. And they find an influencer who has strong engagement, audience, whatnot. And then they launch a product. They spend 8 months creating a product. They launch it and it goes to shit.
Yeah.
So what, I know that you're doing.
That's Fire Festival. That literally is Fire Festival. And that's why it's a tricky game to play, right? And that's why I'm one of the only people that people would want to work with, because I'm not going to screw it up, because my whole reputation's based on it. And if I fuck it up.
No, it's not. No, it's not you fuck. No, that's not my question.
For sure. But for somebody else, right?
That's not, no.
Yeah.
I'm saying you guys could do everything amazing. So for example, Ben or Joe, right?
Yeah.
You guys create an amazing product. Everybody's like, yeah, like I want this, I want that. You create the best hair product.
Right. So
but the second you sell it, no one's buying.
Yeah.
So how do you mitigate that risk?
Well, a few things. So one, low minimum order quantity. So actually, this is a great point. So something super important is, one, know your customer super well. And then once you do know that, then spend the least amount of dollars possible to get to making $1 from them, if you can.
So lean,
really lean, and minimum viable product, right? You want the least that you can get to $1. So, I only spent $8,000 to get Blue Mon going, which is
that $8,000 turned into
yeah, like lots. Like it's been good. So
Ben's eating.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll put it that way. You're in 50 countries.
Yep.
Lots of distributors, lots of B2B, a lot of B2C.
Yeah, B2B and B2C.
That's awesome, man. 50 countries. That's a lot of countries.
It is a lot of countries. It's good. Some of them we're only lightly distributed in. But the thing about the YouTube channel, right, is like there's fans in every country.
How big is the YouTube channel now?
It's got like 1.5 million subscribers.
Is it still plenty?
That one of the things I'm most proud of is that it's actually not. It's getting quite a few less hits than it used to, and the company is growing rather well. So that shows we're diversified and have really built a brand rather than just being like products sold in the YouTube channel.
Do you know what your repeat purchase rates are?
They're pretty high. It's okay. So I know like 40. I'd have to go back because I haven't looked at the analytics. I've been hands off for 10 months, but last I checked, of our total sales, like 40% of them are coming from repeat buyers.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, we have a pretty dedicated fan base.
Do you have any plans to exit?
Fully? No.
This entire company?
Not right now. No. I mean, I love Blue Mon, man. Blue Mon was my first love, and I've needed a break because I just needed a break.
Right.
So Colin's running the company right now. It's good. I'm advising it in various ways, and I love that. And yeah, it's good as it is.
Yeah, I mean, 40%. That is probably very juicy for an investor, knowing that I can buy this company and 40% of the revenue is coming back from repeat purchasers because you have a damn good product.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to say one thing. I bought your product the first time at I texted you.
Yeah.
And I said, where can I buy your product in Vancouver? Because I want one now.
Yeah.
Because Tom is fast and I don't want to wait for a
Instant
week.
Tom.
Give me some freaking gel right now. And you told me to go to the store on Homer and Davy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Mask, yeah.
Yeah. I went there and I bought it, the green one, which he told me. Actually, I bought another one first. I took a picture. I sent it to you. Like, don't get that one, get the other one. So I went back and returned it.
Yeah, because it had shine, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I like this type of.
You wanted a matte, yeah.
What is that shine? What was that?
No. This is. I used Meraki today. So this is the blue one.
Okay.
And
well, I don't get hair like yours.
One.
Your hair, like white hair, is so soft. Mine's like.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Solving different problems, man. But each product's meant for different hair types. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So the second time I bought your product, which was yesterday, because I'm running out.
Yeah.
Well. Sorry, I bought your product. This is my third product that I'm buying.
Yeah.
the first product the first time I bought it, I used it for about 2 weeks. I brought it to the gym. I lost it. I forgot it. So someone else now has Blue Mon. Hopefully they use it and they're like, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm going to buy it. The second time I bought it, I still have it, right? The third time I bought it on Amazon. But it was from a distributor, right? It's not from Blue Mon.
Yeah, no, I think it's now.
Dude,
now
I gotta help you to clean up your Amazon space, man.
Yeah.
You need to own that Amazon listing.
Yeah, I think we do now.
No, you don't.
We had okay, we'll talk about it after, but we had a trademark thing where we didn't get our trademark for a while. We had a trademark issue with this company in Mexico because they had hand sanitizer and they were called Blue Man and we were Blue Mon and the categories. So we couldn't get our listing for a bit, but then now we have our trademark. So,
Yeah, we gotta do something about that,
you
man.
know what you should do is you should do an hour of consulting for a year's supply of Blue Mon at the Blue Mon office and just go clean it up with Kimmy.
Oh man, I would need a little bit more than 1 year.
Okay, fine.
I want my coupon code 50% off for Tom Wayne. That's what I want, and I want for every single product sold, I want 50% commission. So you guys ended up not making any money because 50% discount with.
All right, we'll negotiate later, Tom.
Right. So now it's been an hour and it's highly educational. This is an amazing story, and I just really want people to know that at the end of the day, I mean, no offense to you, but you were just a kid who was bullied, who tried so many different things, failed at everything, but you just kept on going and going and going. And I want to ask every single person who comes on this podcast, what was your drive to just do the next thing?
One thing I will say is it's really important to know who you are, especially once you're already an adult. It's like, who am I and where do I fit in the whole circle of things, right? Because some people are really born entrepreneurs and they couldn't do anything else if they tried. And some people are really good chief operating officers or really good
accountants
or anything. You know, the
video
thing is videographers, right? And that's the thing. And not everyone's meant to be a founder. And if you are like leaning your self-worth on being an entrepreneur and you're like, I must do this. But the truth is, like, you're not seeing yourself take action even when you're surrounded by good people that are taking action. I mean, maybe it's not what's going to make you happy, you know? So that said, if you told me that when I was 18, I would have told you to go fuck yourself. Absolutely. Because I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And if you told me that now, you're like, Ben, maybe you're not cut out for this. I'd say, go fuck yourself. This is what I do. So, you know, I mean, you know who you are. But it's just really important to know who you are because we all fit into the fabric. And, you know, just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're better than anyone else.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. I mean, I started reading Principles by Ray Dalio. And one of the biggest things that I learned is like everybody looks at life through their own lens.
Yeah.
So, you know, someone watching this podcast right now is interpreting you or me in a totally different perspective versus someone else who's watching this podcast. And that's the circle of life. Everybody, you're cut from different cloths and we're all here. We all have our strengths. We all have weaknesses. None of us are perfect. But yeah, life is interesting. We just got to plug away every day. And so if you can leave one message for the viewers who, again, I want to tailor this podcast to people that are entrepreneurs, that are currently entrepreneurs, that want to be entrepreneurs, that have that spirit, but they're not sure what to do.
You have that fire, and you're not.
You have that fire,
and you're damn sure this is what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, use your limited motivation to get around the people that are gonna kick your ass. Because I can tell you what to do, but the people that are legit that you'll get around will know better how to help you than I will, and they're gonna be with you all day, every day. So go get around some gangsters, find a way to do it, and you know, from there the path will get a lot clearer.
Yeah. Just have that environment, have friends that push you, that hold you accountable, and also looking at other people around you that are doing bigger and better things. You're like, I want to catch up to them.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be like them. Or, you know, just seeing that as a possibility. Just like, I knew this person when he or she was like this, and now they're doing this, and they're no one special. It's like, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And it just feels a lot more tangible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Than watching someone on YouTube be like, oh my God, like this is my Lamborghini and this and that.
Yeah, 100%. You can see it.
Cool, man. So if people want to follow you, if people want to slide in your DM, again, ladies, he is not single. He has got a lovely girlfriend. He said that multiple times, but I'll say that one more time. Where can people find you, Ben?
Sure. I mean, at Ben_Weir on Instagram. I guess that's the best. I need to get some, I need to get my social following going more. But yeah, at Ben_Weir.
Weir, WEIR. And
Correct.
do you want to leave people with, well, I guess Instagram, everybody have Instagram. I was going to say email, and you can get a bunch of cold emails, but if you don't want that,
I already
that's
get
fine.
enough. Someone's put my email on the internet, and I get sales emails all the time.
Fair enough. Hey, you never know. The next one can turn into Blue Mon, just like how Joe responds to your email.
Yeah, all right, let's try to get money, man. But yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, Ben, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come to the incubator and having this podcast. And it was really valuable for me. And really, I'm excited to see your growth and the next couple projects that you're working on. And because I've been following you. And we should definitely talk a little bit more about this influencer model, because I like it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Cool.
I like your Amazon model too. And this has been good.
Well, there you have it, guys. The absolutely incredible story of Ben Weir. And I can't wait to see his success over the next couple of years, because I know he's working on some really, really cool projects. And hopefully I can get him back on the podcast and give us an update. So, like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this podcast, guys, wherever you're listening to this from. And if this was meaningful for you, if you did get value out of this, the only thing that I ask is for you to share this with some other folks who you think will also get value as well. Let's rise together and let's help each other out on this journey to success. So my name is Tom Wang. Thank you so much. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at tom.com.ig. YouTube channel is Tom Wang. And if you want to send me an email, you can reach me at hello@tomwang.io. So this is it for episode number 2 with Ben Weir. Looking forward to episode number 3, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon.